What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Droid Life Show today, episode 226. It's Friday, February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I'm Rose Cullen with me. Tim, say hi.
Hey, guys. How's it going? Janky as ever. How you doing?
Yeah, you just totally moved yourself. You're like kind of down in this like bottom corner now.
God, I'm sorry, everybody. I'm just like, it's one of those days.
It's been an up and down kind of day.
Yeah.
An up and down kind of day. So thank you for joining us. One announcement: if there's a mass exodus, that would be the term of people. It's because what I'm about to tell you. We're not doing no trivia today, and I deeply apologize for there not being trivia. We put together a quick show. We got a bunch of stuff going on. We can't do trivia. So please stay for the show. I just saw at least one person leave.
Yeah, I mean, hang out with us, just because you like us, not because we give you stuff. Nah.
But we do have a bunch of cool stuff to talk about. Galaxy S20 from Tim. Tim's like adjusting his camera now.
Don't worry about me.
Galaxy S20. Tim played with all of the Galaxy S20 phones, and we will report back on those. Galaxy Z Flip. He also played with that. We have some news surrounding Galaxy Z Flip, we think. Galaxy Buds Plus. I think you have some Galaxy Buds Plus, don't you? They must have given you some.
I do. Event. Yeah. They're fantastic. We'll talk about them later.
So we got those. We saw our first mention of Android 11 this week, mistakenly. The Motorola Razr review is up. If you want to read that thing, that's done. Essential as a company is they're gone. Essential is gone. T-Mobile and Sprint merger news. MWC also. MWC 2020 also gone. So pretty heavy week of news. Not just Galaxy stuff. There's a bunch of other stuff. So anyway, again, if you're joining us just like a couple minutes late here, we don't have trivia this week. We didn't have time to put it together. I think it's our first missed trivia in I don't know how many episodes in a row. So I hope you guys will survive. Of course, like I am a Libra says, yeah, it's the first time I'm live and no trivia.
Oops.
So sorry about that. I know.
Sorry, friend.
It is like the one time out of I don't know how many episodes. I mean, we've skipped it before, but it's been a while since we've skipped one. I really, really apologize, guys. We just didn't have a chance to put it together today.
It was a busy week, man.
It was a busy week. Let's talk about your busy week. You had some travel in there, some hands-on videos, totally. A press conference. So Samsung Unpacked was this week. So Samsung Unpacked 2020 in San Francisco. Tim flew down for it. They announced quite a bit of stuff. Obviously, Galaxy S20, which includes the S20, S20 Plus, S20 Ultra. So there's 3 new S20 phones. Then they additionally showed off the Galaxy Z Flip, their new foldable clamshell style, like that. And then Galaxy Buds Plus, the upgraded version of last year's really nice Galaxy Buds. We did not get a new Galaxy Home Mini. Still not a thing. We were talking about it for 2 years. Again, we talked about this last week, how no one cares and no one wants that thing. But it is weird that, it's in like beta testing, I think, in Korea. So people do have Galaxy Home Minis, but they once again didn't say like, yeah, you could buy this now. I think they're even giving them away free with orders in Korea. Potentially, if you buy an S20, you get a Mini, but my guess is the plans are just kind of shelved there to distribute that. Why?
Well, maybe just keep it to Korea then. There's absolutely zero interest in the US for a Galaxy Home Mini. So it's, just keep it there. It's fine. Like the US market never adopted Bixby. I think that's just all there is to it. They were late to the game. It was a inferior product compared to Siri and Google Assistant. So just leave it there. That's fine. We don't need it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think we're fine without it. There's enough voice activated speakers in the world that we don't need one from Bixby or Bigsby.
Bigsby.
All right, so let's just run through the 3 phones real quick before we get to the Z Flip. So S20 Ultra, obviously the top tier dog, $1,400 phone. It is a repeat $1,400 phone.
Gosh,
it's the biggest of them. Almost 7-inch screen, 6.9 inch display, QHD. They're all 120 hertz, which is awesome. Although asterisk 120 hertz at full HD. So there was a rumor that you wouldn't be able to access the 120 hertz refresh rate at quad HD because these are all quad HD displays. And that is actually true. If you have the resolution set at quad HD, no 120 hertz, it drops back to 60. If you're at 1080p, then you can get the 120. So we're all just going to be running that thing at 1080p to get that super smooth. Snapdragon 865, up to 16 gig RAM in the Ultra, or 12 gig if you don't go with the super duper expensive version. The camera is kind of different from the other two. You have a 108 megapixel sensor with Nona binning. This is Samsung's new technology. Nona binning, which is like pixel binning. It's basically binning. You combine a bunch of pixels down and to create a super fabulous picture with a giant sensor. It also has 100x space zoom. So what's that? 10 times optical, 10 times digital. You multiply those, you get 100x zoom, which is kind of crazy. A large 5,000 milliamp hour battery. And the Ultra also has special charging, 45 watt fast charging if you buy a separate charger. The other two do not have that. It's kind of weird. Ultrasonic fingerprint readers and all, IP68. So that thing is like the spec beast, 7 inches almost display there. And then you have the S20 Plus and 20, which are almost identical. The 20 Plus is just ever so slightly bigger, has a time of flight sensor, and a bigger battery, 4,500 milliamp versus 4,000. So we've known all this stuff. Like this stuff has been, leaked religiously.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that kind of goes. Well, I should toss out prices. So S20 Ultra I said was 14. S20 Plus is 1,200. S20 is 1,000. So those are kind of your starting price points. Some of them have extra storage or RAM options, and they jump up hundreds of dollars from there. What's the top Ultra priced at if you go 16 gig RAM, 512 storage? Do we know? I don't have that.
I don't know, but I assume it's an extra $200-$300.
Oh yeah, I'm guessing 200. I could possibly pull it up right now. Let's see. Unlocked 512. It's 1,600. So yeah, another $200. So if you go 16 gig RAM and 512 storage, it jumps up to $1,600.
I mean, hey, if you can drop that much, do it.
I just can't imagine spending. I mean, look, I shouldn't say I can't imagine spending that much money on a phone because we did it with the Galaxy Fold, although we returned that thing. And I just bought a Razr for $1,500, though that thing's going back. And we're getting a Galaxy Flip, which is $1,400. So, but we're like, this is like our job.
We have to. If you're the average
job.
person, though, I mean, you're not buying $1,400 smartphones, are you?
I have no idea.
I have no idea who these people are who've got this kind of money, but that's great.
I still remember, I think when the original Pixel came out and we complained about it being $700 or something like that. We complained to think about it being $600 and $700 or $650 and $750. And we said it was overpriced and expensive. This phone is $1,400. It's the same price as the Z Flip. And the Z Flip, obviously, there's a different form factor, the foldable thing, but that's just a lot of money to ask anyone to pay. I think Samsung sort of admitted that people aren't upgrading as frequently as they once were. Well,
and they shouldn't be. And I'm with that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily need to, number one, because phones are just so good and the advancements aren't as fast as they once were. But also, if you buy a phone for $1,400, you're not going to get a phone every year and a half. You're just not. Because a lot of people are getting these on payment plans. And the payment plan on a $1,400 phone, it's something like $60 a month, I think.
It's not cheap.
$60 a month for your phone on top of, your wireless bill.
Yeah. Digital Life makes an interesting point. He says, if you go to see this phone in person, I feel like it's going to be pretty tempting. So, having spent a little bit of time with the phone, these are nice phones, of course. Right. And you would hope so for those types of prices. But gosh, I mean, the Galaxy S10 line are also very nice phones. And they price cut those. So, it's beginning to become a lot more, I think, like the new iPhone lineup. Apple cuts the prices of the old iPhone. People just get the last generation iPhone. Yeah. And so they're always just a year behind. And of course, you have those early adopters who, can afford the newest new. And that's totally fine. But at the same time, when are we going to say enough is enough? And, being that this is America and all that, I don't know if enough will ever be enough. But damn, these companies, I mean, the goal, right? To charge $1,000 for their lowest phone.
The cheap one.
Insanity.
The cheap one with a couple of missing specs is $1,000.
Yeah. And Bircher says MacBook or S20 Ultra. Exactly, man. Like
Yeah.
you could get, and forget a MacBook. I mean, you could get the most high-end gaming PC in the world for $1,500.
Probably
I mean,
could.
sure, yeah, it won't obviously be the most, but it could play all your games. I mean, that could be a full-on desktop machine.
Yeah.
So it was really, I guess if you weigh it like that, then it's hard to make that type of decision. But yeah, I mean, the phones are nice. Don't get me wrong, and they're slick. The 120 hertz refresh is dope, and you're walking. If you get that S20 Ultra, you've got everything minus an S Pen. So I mean,
Right.
who, and you made a fantastic point. I think it was earlier this week. It was either yesterday or the day before. But like, why does the S20 Plus exist?
Yeah.
I'll let you get into that. Because you made the point and I don't want to take it from you. So,
well, yeah. So I think it was yesterday. So I wrote that the S20 Plus it's kind of the sucker phone in a way. It's not the phone you should buy. It fits in the middle. There's like 3 differences between the regular S20 and it. Time of flight sensor, which, come on, do we really need the depth sensor? I don't really think so. Time of flight sensor. You have one extra storage option, which, you have to pay more for that. So you're already paying $200 more. And then if you upgrade to an extra storage, then you're just paying more anyway. It has a slightly bigger screen, a 0.5 inch bigger screen, and a slightly bigger battery from 4,500 versus 4,000. The only other difference then is their 5G connectivity. The regular S20 doesn't have millimeter wave 5G, which is
good.
Which is the 5G that Verizon, AT&T are pushing currently. T-Mobile has it in a couple of markets, but it's the super fast, like 2 gig down 5G, but you have to be direct line of sight. Doesn't really work through windows or behind doors or in buildings. You have to be standing outside essentially to use it.
Yeah,
Super
there's heavy
fast.
smog. If you're downtown LA, it's not going to. Even the smog is blocking it.
But that's a thing. That is actually a thing. Clouds, rain, all of that can affect the connected. So
we're not there yet.
Yeah, so it doesn't have that. So that's not actually a selling point. Unless you live, say, in a building right downtown of a major city and there's a tower across the street through your window of your apartment or your office is that sort of situation, and you might be on 5G millimeter wave all the time, sure. So basically you get 0.5 inch bigger screen, 500 extra milliamp hour battery, a time of flight sensor, an extra storage option if you want to pay even more, and then 5G millimeter wave. So the argument I made is if you want those things, and the bigger display, you just go Ultra. I mean, you just go all in at that point rather than kind of hide in the middle. You just go all in because the Ultra has that special camera, also has millimeter wave, but it has even bigger battery, potentially more RAM. Yeah, the S20 Plus it's a weird phone. I actually don't understand why it exists other than Samsung wants to create tiers that people will hopefully they can upsell people on. Like I get why they're doing it, but if you look at it from a consumer perspective, it's not the phone you should buy. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. So, people in the chat have been mentioning 5G hardware and how that's affecting pricing. Of course, I mean, we're seeing it, man.
Yeah.
The small guy has 5G minus the millimeter wave, and here it is starting at $1,000. I think that's actually harmful to the consumer. And as we were just talking about, 5G isn't quite there yet. Unless you live downtown, or, the 5G and the way they market it, and how it's going to transform the industry and not just the cell phone industry, but the medical industry and the infrastructure and all this stuff. We're just not quite there yet. We don't know if any
of that's even true too. Yeah. That's like what they keep selling us on. And we're like, okay,
it could be marketing mumbo jumbo for sure. And, I'm not going to put it past any of these companies to really shove marketing mumbo jumbo down our throat. So
and not live up to it. Yeah,
exactly. So we might be getting a little screwed, but so also I want to talk about the trade-in stuff. So as Alfredo in the chat says, my Ultra, so he's referring to his S20 Ultra. S20 with 600 trade-in is cheaper than Pixel 4 XL at $900. So that brings it down to what, $800. So you're getting an S20 Ultra versus the Pixel 4 XL, which starts at $900. That's a very good point. But then also you got to be you have to stay on the newest of the new to ensure you're getting the most trade-in value for your devices. You have to buy the most expensive to get the most value back for your new device. It's kind of like this vicious cycle that's going on. And then so how much is Samsung going to offer as trade-in value towards the Note 20 for the S20 Ultra, right? Are they going to offer $800 off a Note 20 because that thing's going to start at $1,500?
Yeah, they better.
I mean, it's just kind of, it's crazy. And the pricing is almost getting out of hand. And I almost want to just like say, to hell with it. These high-end phones are too high-end now, and we just stick to the Pixel 4As. Just give me those A-lines, those mid-range. OnePlus, save us from this hellish landscape that we're in. Just keep making bomb phones with all the specs, and then have it still be under $800. There's something weird going on. There's something happening here, and we need to investigate it.
Well, so just to clarify, what Tim's talking about is the trade-in program that Samsung does every single year is back again for these phones, and they're doing up to $700 off any of the S20 phones, depending on what you trade. Now, the lineup is possibly more limited, although there's a whole bunch also at $600. So if you have a Note 10 or Note 10 Plus or iPhone 11 Pro or 11 Pro Max, they'll give you, and if you trade those in, they'll give you $700 off any of these S20 phones. If you have a Pixel 4, Galaxy S10 or 10 Plus, iPhone 11, iPhone 10s, 10s Max, they'll give you $600 off. So yeah, if you have last year's S10 or S10 Plus, the S10e is not in the picture. That they're only giving $300 for that, which I'm really pissed about.
That's rude.
But if you have an S10 or S10 Plus, they'll give you $600 off one of these phones. So yeah, if you buy the $1,000 S20, again, I think everyone should skip the S20 Plus. You could get an S20 for $400, or if you go with the Ultra, then yeah, $600 off that, yeah, $800. So that's not a bad price. I mean, you are giving up your phone and you're trading it in, but you're probably not going to be able to sell an S10 for $600 right now, are you? Like, do Samsung phones really hold their value that much? I haven't looked in a while. Typically they don't. Typically these launch periods for Samsung, they give you the highest value you're ever going to get for your phone. They did it with the Note 10, the S10, S9, Note 9. They've done this for like 3 years, I think now. So this is your opportunity to, and it does really take a big chunk off of that crazy price, but you have to have a good phone.
Gotta have a good phone.
Yeah, because the rest of the options they're taking, I feel like the list is slimmer this year than it was last year. They'll give you $300 for a Note 9. They'll give you $300 for an S10e, $300 for an iPhone 10. If you have a Pixel 3, they'll give you $300. So they are giving some discounts. They actually go back 3A. If you have a 3A, they'll give you $200 off. If you have a Pixel 3, it's $300 off. So it's not bad. If you have a 3A XL, and you want to upgrade, they'll give you $200. That drops a S20 down to $800.
Yeah, interesting.
But now is the time, though. So just to make that clear, like if you are thinking of an S20,
do it,
and you have a Pixel 4 or something like that, or an iPhone 10s or whatever, or an S10, this is like right now is when you should upgrade, because we probably won't see the $600 and $700 tiers for trade-ins again. We might see them get back to $500 and $600, but usually we don't see them go as high as they are right now.
I mean, it's crazy. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I wanted to make one other point about the 5G stuff we were talking about. You were kind of going in on how they're like giving us something I'm not sure we need yet. And that's totally the case. We're paying these prices where we're now talking about needing $700 trade-in credits because they forced it on us, which we've talked about before. But it's one of those things where the millimeter wave stuff, for example, most people are never, ever for the next probably 2 years going to connect to a 5G millimeter wave tower. Like, for example, Tim and I live in Portland. Portland's one of those cities that's not really happy about the advanced pushing of 5G millimeter wave. They've cited health concerns and whatever, and I'm not going to get into whether or not I think those things are true or not. But Portland's one of those cities that said, no, you can't just come in. And so you and I don't think we're the only city doing this. You and I may not see millimeter wave for a while. So we have to deal with low banded, mid band. So if I buy an S20 Plus, I will never connect to that, but I just had to pay for the fact that maybe I might go to a city that has that, I don't want to say it's not fair. That's just what we're dealing with. Qualcomm forced this on everyone. The regular S20, it'll still connect to low and mid band 5G from T-Mobile, AT&T, and should Verizon and Sprint ever figure something out there. But that's kind of it. And Verizon's supposedly going to release a millimeter wave regular S20 later on down the road. I actually have my doubts on them doing that, but apparently they're going to. It is a weird, unfortunate situation. We're paying prices for stuff that most of us can't access. It's, especially with low band 5G, it's not even faster than 4G LTE in most locations, but we're paying for it as if one day we might get mid band, which then it's just, so it kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, not to bring out the old tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, but I mean, who benefits from pushing a non-existent 5G network with 5G hardware that people can't access? And that's Qualcomm, who just prints cash because they have a monopoly on the processors and this network technology and all that nonsense. And then the manufacturers who put that chip in their phones get to charge extra and make a larger profit because you know damn well it doesn't cost $500 to put, or $200 to put these radios in the phones. So the people, the consumer, is kind of getting screwed in these early stages of 5G. And it's all of us. It's not even just the people who want to access the 5G. It's the people who aren't even getting the access to the network itself. So
yeah, I mean, like you and I, we're paying the prices for these networks where we live in areas where the networks don't exist.
Yeah,
and that's just, well, it's shitty.
It is, but it's not a surprise.
Well, and I know that part of the argument is, well, Qualcomm's going to help push 5G advancement forward by requiring 5G. To be honest, I don't know that I believe that will work. We still need the networks to build them. Like Verizon's still putting 5G millimeter wave in stadiums because they don't have the resources to put any other 5G anywhere. And AT&T is doing low band, which again, we've seen doesn't really improve over 4G LTE that much. And T-Mobile has an opportunity. We'll talk about this later when they're going to merge with Sprint, how they've taken another step closer thanks to a court ruling. They have mid-band and low band, so their 5G will be probably better than everyone's earlier. But when is that going to be? How many years down the road? So in 2020, Qualcomm forced 5G into phones that we're now going to have to pay that extra premium for. And most of us won't access 5G for I don't know how long. I mean, I have, I'll buy an S20, the regular S20. I'll put a T-Mobile SIM in it. I believe we have low band T-Mo 5G here. I'm pretty sure we do because I considered the OnePlus 7T Pro McLaren or whatever at one point just because I wanted 5G. So I'll get that. But I mean, T-Mo 4G LTE is pretty good at my house. I guess I'll see if I get a speed boost. But I, just had to pay like $500 for a logo change. It sucks. And Qualcomm forced this into the conversation. It's just too bad. All right. So you mentioned the Galaxy S10 line sticking around. Did we say that it's all of them got a $150 price drop? Did we mention that?
Across the board, $150 off. So now they started $599, I think, for the S10e.
I think so. Yeah.
Yep. And then up from there. So
I feel like they should have discounted them further.
$200 would have been good.
200, yeah, I think 200 might have been a little bit better. It's their first year kind of doing this, so and it's an Apple move, and Google sort of does it. They just usually try to sell through last year's model, and then they stop making them. But this is the first time we've seen Samsung go, no, they're sticking around, and they're $150 cheaper. So
yeah, but like in the world of Android, like I get that for iPhone because iPhone stays supported software wise for like 5 years.
Right.
Do I want to do that with Android phones? Like you're getting a phone that's guaranteed to only get 1 year of Android updates, right? Because it's 2 years for these phones, these large phones from Samsung. So you're getting one. You're gonna probably get one major Android update. It's gonna ship with Android 10. You're gonna get updated Android 11 later this year, hopefully. And then that's probably it for those phones. And then you'll get an additional year of security updates. Mm-hmm. If all goes according to plan, and plans are made to be changed. And so who knows? It's really kind of an interesting thing. I would just say screw it. I don't need a new or a last year's Samsung phone. I would just get the Pixel 4a, and I'm really kind of disappointed in myself for not realizing how important, I guess, a mid-range, or less expensive Pixel phone could be to the average kind of like just Android consumer in that sense, right? You're getting a really good camera, which is what most people just want on their smartphone anyway, is a good camera. It's like priority numero uno. and then getting access to updates and all that. So, and that's where that A lineup really comes in. So it's really important, I think, that Google does a good job at kind of pushing that A series. And I know you and I both are pretty much, that's like the number one phone we're looking forward to this year. Is, yeah, I know, is like a mid-range Pixel device. Bless our hearts, man. I don't.
Well, that kind of leads me though into like this last sort of part to talk about the S20 is like you're sitting here saying, I'm really looking forward to the 4A, but you just played with all three of these S20. So I just was going to say, like, why are you still saying that when you had all three of these? And obviously we're going to order you an Ultra for review purposes.
Oh yeah.
Like, are these three phones amazing, or was there something you already saw where you went, they're fine, but the 4A looks awesome? Like, what is it?
Yeah, so the S20 lineup is cool. But the problem is really just hardware stuff. Software, they didn't take a big step forward really in any department. I mean, One UI,
seen a lot of that, yeah.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of it. It's got night mode still.
There's a faux Apple AirDrop thing. Remember the thing that we saw leak
Quick
earlier?
Share,
it's called Quick Share, and it's not even close to AirDrop, but it's there.
Exactly. So they're a small jump. I mean, besides the 5G, and so of course they threw the 5G name on it, right? Because they want to emphasize, yeah, these things have 5G access. But for people like you and me, 5G isn't all that important, and I assume for the majority of the country, it's not that important right now. It can be well down the future.
But those displays, though.
The displays are great, and yeah, it looked smooth. But then at the same time, you're like, okay, how much is like would 120 hertz look a lot different, say, on a Pixel phone versus One UI, which may kind of bog like the Android OS down a little bit? Like, it's really hard to tell. I've experienced 120 hertz before, whether it be on the ROG Phone 2. I've been experiencing 120 hertz since the Razr phone.
Yeah, I've never seen 120 hertz, and you've this is not even that new to you.
Exactly, it's not that new to me. But. And it looks cool, but at the same, you just sort of you just get used to it, and it's really not all that cool.
You've also been using a 4XL at 90. So you're not good. Everyone else is going to go from 60 to 120. They'll probably notice it. You're kind of already been experiencing it. Yeah.
They'll notice it. I'm sure these phones have a ton of RAM and stuff, but at the end of the day, I don't think they're a huge advancement versus the S10 series. The hardware was nice. Don't get me wrong. They're curved so well. These displays are huge, but they actually feel good in hand.
Speaking of curves, how curved is the display on all of them? Too bad.
It's not too bad. Like, I actually think you would like the little guy. Like, okay. I think you'll like the little guy.
Yeah.
It feels really good in hand. Obviously one-handed usage is kind of hard on a 7-inch display. Yeah. Diagonal, of course, but still, it's large. You know what? My main takeaway is what we'll talk about next. Was the Z Flip, and that was the phone I was actually really excited about because it's something totally new.
Different, yeah.
And we've been looking at phones that look like this for 10 years now, and it's like, holy man, like we're finally getting somewhere else. I was talking to the rep who was at the Unpacked event, who was going over the Z Flip with me. Was like, oh, shut up, Google Assistant. She was like, oh, I've been with Samsung for 10 years now doing this. And I was like, and look how far we've come. I mean, you've seen the evolution firsthand. We've gone from just kind of ugly Galaxy S phones to the Z Flip. So it's crazy to think how really far we've come and how much we're paying for phones now.
I've been doing those events for 10 years. That's kind of
10 years. Kind of is ridiculous, but yeah. So my main takeaway is for the S20 is, yeah, I mean, if you really like Samsung phones, you'll probably love these. I think Space Zoom is stupid because who needs
not impressed.
I'm not impressed at all.
Well, if you don't have a tripod, I know they tried to do some stabilization there, but I can't imagine it.
Nah, man. And the Pixel's still going to be there's something about Samsung's cameras that just don't really compare, I feel like, to the Pixel. It just looks more realistic on a Pixel. It's more lifelike. And I guess it depends on what you value as a mobile photographer. Who cares? You're taking pictures with a phone anyway. But it's just about what your eye prefers. And mine prefers a Pixel versus the Galaxy phone. So
I think a majority of people do. It's weird because it's when you look at Google, the pictures that Pixel cameras take, they're often contrast is kind of ramped up. Like, they do some things that eyes obviously love to see. And it's funny because we used to talk about cameras doing too much poppy color crap. And I'm not saying Pixel phones do that, but they've clear, like their algorithm leans towards that extra contrasty sort. So like everything does kind of have that extra depth that you may not see. I'm not saying Samsung cameras take everything flat and bland, because their cameras are really good, but the algorithm of the way Google has done that, they obviously have like really figured out what our eyes like to look at. I will say though, with the S20, they really changed cameras for the first time in a couple of years. So I am excited to at least play with the camera. The zoom stuff, I'm with you. I don't zoom very often on things, typically because digital zooms are terrible. I know it could be different on the Ultra because they're using digital and optical. Yeah, see, I don't really have high hopes there, but they did spend some time on the camera. And these camera setups are different. So that's at least exciting. And, to get an ultra wide angle will be nice again, because I've been on this Pixel 4 forever and it does not have one. So
absolutely. I mean, there's pros and cons for everything. If you like Samsung devices, these phones are going to be awesome. 120 hertz is going to be night and day from 60 to 120. It's going to be great for you.
The little one in gray looks dope.
That gray color.
It's color.
Very, so if anyone's into cars, you'll know that Audi has a Nardo gray color. It's kind of matte. That's exactly what these phones look like. Mine is the fingerprints that you can see on the back. Yeah. The gray is sick. That Nardo gray is like one of my favorite colors in the world. So it looks great. It's
one of their not bold. The colors aren't bold. I just want to say it's like one of their boldest moves in terms of color schemes. They usually go black, which always sucks because it's a fingerprint magnet. And then they throw in a silverish, and then there's maybe a blue. And then we've had a couple of purplishes for years where kind of borderlines being just awful. And then this year we're going like baby blue almost, right? Yeah. And pink, like it's pink. It's not pink. Even, and then gray. And then the Ultra also comes in black or gray. But like the colors, they almost went, I hate to say this, and I'm sure I'll offend somebody, but they almost went baby boy blue and little baby girl pink. Like
interesting. Yeah.
Like when you think about a baby and people pick colors, there's this like baby blue and there's this really like pink color that people associate with. That's kind of what those colors remind me of.
Sure.
And I think that's an odd choice for that. I looked at both those pink and blues and went, yeah, no, I don't want either of those. I will take the drab gray.
Yeah, and I don't know why they had to like bedazzle all the colors. Like they're all kind of like diamondy. They all have like some sparkle to them, which is like cool, I guess. But like you just sort of like get over it. Best Buy does have an exclusive for the blue. S20 Plus. They got a dark kind of blue, which looks pretty good. But then again, it's exclusive to Best Buy, and it's only for the S20 Plus, which is the phone we recommend you don't buy. So how about that?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Geez. Yeah. So
I got to see this color.
It looks like Best Buy blue. It looks like every other blue. Oh, it looks like
I see it,
the Note 9. I think that came in blue. It kind of looks like that. So
it's better than the baby blue, but yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And all the colors, they look fine, but I guess just that gray looks good. Would it kill them just to make like a blue phone, a red phone, a green phone? Like just give people some color options? I don't know. It just seems weird. Like we're getting all crazy with it. Like, I don't know. I guess put a case on it, no big deal. Everyone puts a case on it. I don't. So.
A case on a 7-inch phone? With that camera hump? The Ultra camera hump is skinny massive. Jeans.
Yeah, I put it in my pocket, and I wasn't wearing like the tightest of jeans, but like it was still like, okay, sure, that's thick. Like, damn, 7 inches of just like glass and metal bulging. That's brutal.
All right, so we ran through a poll that said, which Galaxy S20 are you buying? 50% of the readers said none. 26% said Ultra. 14% said 20 plus. Who are you people? S20 only got 10%. I am curious why. I mean, I can go back and probably read some comments on that story I wrote, but why people would choose the 20 plus over the 20. Well, if you're with Verizon, you don't have a choice. Verizon doesn't even have the S20 because they only have millimeter wave, and they couldn't sell a non-5G S20, right? Because that wouldn't work, at least on their network, which is, again, is why this is all so stupid.
And what's up with having to wait till March to get these things, man? That is dumb. Like the hype. So we've got
2 weeks to wait, or another full week next Friday, right? We get a pre-order.
Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah,
I
so
want to
pre-orders February 21st, and then what, March 6th?
March 6th.
Jeez. This is the longest time we waited for a while for Samsung phones.
Yeah, not a fan of it. But not like they have any competition this time of the year. I'm not going to say that Samsung is worried about the Pixel 4a dipping into the Galaxy S20's numbers. No. Samsung has no cares in the world because LG's a non-competitor these days. They don't have to worry about Sony. They don't have to worry about MWC. Have to worry about Huawei taking exactly like no wind will leave Samsung sales because of gosh darn coronavirus canceling all the good stuff. So as Brandon Fisher says, blame it on coronavirus. Yeah, I mean, like as terrible as this is going to sound, it kind of helped Samsung this year. Like in terms of like keeping the media attention on them with having like the phone announcement. Yeah, I mean, and obviously that is terrible to say, but
well, we can just talk about that. So yeah, what Tim's saying is MWC 2020, which I mentioned in the opening, it's canceled, and because a whole bunch of companies pulled out citing coronavirus concerns. That enough of them pulled out and enough other people, I think, just voiced concerns to GSMA, which is the company who runs MWC, and they canceled this week. So MWC is done. So all of those companies that were going to host press events there to announce whatever, like Motorola was one, LG pulled out. I'm sure they were probably going to announce something there because they announced they were pulling out of there. And so I'm assuming they did. NVIDIA pulled out. I don't know what they were going to show off, but
AI stuff.
I think Xiaomi definitely was going. Huawei, I'm pretty sure, was going. They said they were going even after everyone else was pulling out. So all those companies now don't have that grand stage at the end of February, which they have had every year. Now they either have to host their own event or figure something else out. So yeah, Samsung just did their thing, and now there's no MWC, and everything just will kind of trickle in, I think. That'll be an interesting thing to watch this year if MWC's cancellation affects much, or if we just kind of move along and go, yeah, we told you these press events were dumb years ago. Just put the stuff on the internet and let us know about it.
Totally. And I'm all for MWC being canceled. I would much rather not have an event take place and spare people the chance of getting sick or anything like that. So I think props to the GSMA.
Seems like the right move.
Yeah, it seems like the right move to me. I mean, plus everyone was canceling anyway. I think they're making the right choice in the long run. Even if that hurts their bottom line a little bit because they don't get hype for it on Twitter or social media. Like, who cares, man? Like, keep your employees alive. How about that? So
yeah, the worst part about it all is probably just the local Barcelona economy. It probably gets a huge boost. So it sucks for the people of Barcelona because I'm sure they're just going to lose a whole boatload of business. But as far as like canceling it, it was probably the right move.
I feel so bad for my fellow blogger bros who have non-refundable tickets or whatever, and they still want to go or whatever and just spend a week in Spain. I'm so sorry that your hopes and dreams were dashed by coronavirus.
I'm sure they could still go.
Sure, I would just go anyway.
I mean, yeah, if you had a non-refundable, you're going anyway. You might as well just hang out in Barcelona and just chill, work a little bit.
Exactly.
Anyway, all right. So before we move on from S20, we did have a few donations. Lars dropped 50
krona.
Yeah, krona, and said, "Have a nice weekend, people. P.S. The P40 Pro Plus side-loaded Google services will kick butt. It very well may." Alfredo dropped $2 earlier, said Ultra, and Charles dropped 20. Oh, am I not supposed to read this?
Well, I mean, too late now.
$20 said silent donation. Don't interrupt show to announce. Sorry, Charlie. We're gonna do it. We're always gonna shout you out. Appreciate the $20. Appreciate the donos, everyone.
Yeah, Brandon Fisher in the chat says that's why you buy travel insurance. I don't believe in travel insurance.
Do people buy travel insurance?
I've
never done it.
I'm like one of those guys who's like, is that a sucker move? Like, I mean, like that's insurance. I mean, like I've got it for my car and house and stuff, but travel insurance. Well,
like Charles says, non-refundable. I would think coronavirus should be the exception. So that's the only thing is, and I am no airline expert guy here, but I would think if you booked a trip for a special event like that and it was canceled due to that. I would think maybe the airline would try to figure something out. I know some of them are ruthless, but
I would say
don't
no,
know.
because if the airline is still traveling there, it's like, well, we're still going. Like, we're not stopping our flight. I mean, that's
true.
your event is not our problem. So that's what I would say.
All I know is a couple of years ago when Google was going to host that event in New York, I think it was for the Galaxy Nexus, actually. They were going to do a Galaxy Nexus event in New York, and I can't remember which hurricane, but remember the hurricane that came through New York and flooded the streets and all of that? I remember like they canceled it the day before. I think I was flying there, and everyone refunded my stuff, or at least gave me credit to use later on. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
We don't have to get into airline talk. Should we talk about the Galaxy Z Flip?
Yeah, the Z Flip, man. Let's talk about it.
All right, Galaxy Z Flip, the new flip phone, foldable from Samsung, also a part of the Unpacked event. In fact, they opened up the event with this. Before they announced anything else, they said, hey, we've got a new foldable. It released today for almost $1,400, $1,380. There are unlocked versions and AT&T versions. Oh, there's also Sprint versions. They were sold in very, 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 very limited quantities through, I think AT&T Sprint probably had some, although I can't tell. Best Buy had, well, the one Best Buy here out of, I don't know how many Best Buys we have, that also had the Galaxy Fold, had the Z Flip. And it's all sold out immediately. Like they made 4 of these for each store, I believe. So this phone, well, should I just get to it? We ordered one. We were not sure if we were actually going to get it. We got on last night. Best Buy did this really sneaky thing where they posted all the inventory about 15 minutes early, which is just not cool. You can't be doing that. But we were ready because we know as former sneaker guys that you always start checking early. We did. And we went through the struggle and we put in an order and had no idea when we were going to get this thing. What, 5-10 minutes before the show, I think we got the email that said, hey, your order's ready for pickup. So the minute we get off the air, Tim is driving to Best Buy and he will have a Galaxy Z Flip.
Z Flip.
Z Flip. We should just call it the Z Flip going forward.
That's what I'm doing.
So if you want to see coverage of the Z Flip, we'll probably have an unboxing today. And then who knows what Tim's got planned after that. But I know you're very excited for this phone.
And I don't know why, but like I really am. And so I think it was Lars in the chat. He said, you could hear the excitement in Tim's voice when he was doing the hands-on with the Z Flip. And I was like, yeah, man, like, because it is exciting. It's something different. I felt the same way about the Fold, except the Fold does not excite me as much as the Flip. Because the Fold, damn, it was big, and like it turned into a tablet, and I'm not a fan of Android tablets.
Sure.
This thing, it's tiny. It's like, holy moly, I can actually have like a small phone, and then it does happens to turn into a huge phone, but it turns into a 6.7-inch display, which is a Galaxy S20 Plus territory. Yeah. So gorgeous phone though. It feels so good in hand. I was fortunate enough not to mess with the Moto Razr, and you'll talk about that here in a second, but that phone is nothing, I think, compared to the Z Flip. The Z Flip, it feels so sturdy. It feels so good when you unfold it and then you close it, and it kind of here's that close.
Unlike the Razr, which doesn't do that at all. Yeah,
exactly. So the Z Flip, it excites me. I'm sure that that phase will wear off maybe after 2 weeks, or maybe even just a few days, just being like, oh, I have to open my phone. Okay. Like, it's just something new. So it's kind of, you got this kind of, I wouldn't say nostalgia because I've never actually experienced anything like a Z Flip. And I didn't have a Razr either back in the day. I had super dumb phones, then the Voyager, then a Droid. So, yeah, I mean, it's just something different. So when I do the unboxing, you'll probably hear the same thing. I'll be like, oh, here we go. And I'm not ashamed of that. Like, if I'm excited about a phone, like when I did the Galaxy S10 Plus in ceramic, and it may have sounded like I was excited to unbox it, just because like I was, like, the hardware is so nice on these devices, and it's hard to not be like a fan, like, sure. And I want to be objective at the same time and not come off like a total shill for Samsung, but like, damn, pardon me if I get a little excited about something. Nothing wrong
getting excited, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's cool. And, you're spending $1,400. We have to spend our own money to get these things. Samsung isn't, flying us out or putting us up in hotels and saying, oh, here, you want great lighting in a room, private room, so you can do your videos and all that. We don't get that treatment. So
Nope.
we gotta
They don't even send us review units anymore.
Exactly. So man, like, we put the work in, we gotta get the phone and like, just let me enjoy this, damn it. It's cool.
Totally fine. I think it's totally fine. I should just point out though that as we announced that we were getting a Z Flip, it was here's some of the comments. Oh, this is why there's no trivia.
Oh, you're right. Yep. Can't afford trivia prizes. Sorry, folks.
What else did I just see? Oh, now we know why the show is 2 hours early.
Oh, yep. Yeah.
Yeah. What color did we order? We tried for purple, but we ended up with black. So.
Yes. Of course, tried for purple. Purple's the only like real color. So just the way we look at it, taking pictures of black phones is a lot more difficult than it is taking pictures of kind of lighter looking phones. Yeah. Plus, that purple just looks cool in videos and in photos. So the black, it's a black phone. We've all seen black phones before. So. Yeah. Clinton says you guys are on the Samsung poop list. Yes, most likely. Don't know why. I think it actually dates back to we bashed
4 or 5. Yeah.
And the Galaxy S5 I think was one of the main ones where we were just like, Samsung sucks at hardware. Like we gave them a hard time. But I think the last review unit we got from Samsung was for the Galaxy S8. We actually got like a huge package that. Oh, really? That a lot of other people didn't get, and I did a big unboxing. They gave us headphones, and it was great. But that was, fucking a few years ago now. So you remember that? Remember we got the big old package? I did an unboxing. Whatever. That's and that's why they probably don't like
I haven't seen one from them in about 7 years. So I'm just like, I have no idea.
Yeah, Daybo9 says Samsung has gotta be back in the truck up soon, right? Tim is gushing all the time. I said, I'm not gushing. Like it's just like it's something new and exciting. Like I'll be gushing the same when the Pixel 4a comes, or just I gush for any new hardware. I've been using the Pixel 4 XL now since it came out. So 3 months I've been on this phone, and knowing me, like I like to switch phones often, but there hasn't been anything really new to kind of get me going. So I'm just excited to try something new. This is the future, people. I'm back on Samsung Pay. I'm really excited about it.
Back on Samsung Pay. That's like your biggest thing.
I know, and I've seen a lot of people say that the Z Flip is nothing but a party trick, and like I'm kind of with you on that too. Like it might be, but it's it's new, it's cool. Brandon says Tim sounds like a boy after he met some new girl, and like that is kind of like what it feels like. But yeah.
So specs wise. Android 10, which the Razr still doesn't have, 6.7-inch full HD AMOLED with the little hole punch camera in there. Yep. Razr, again, not even 1080p, definitely no hole punch. Tiny little 1.1-inch display on the cover, which I don't even know if you can call that a display. Downside. It's basically a ticker, yeah. Dual camera, though, ultra wide and standard in the camera department, which I'm assuming these aren't Samsung's best cameras ever. Just throwing that out there. But at least we have image stabilization, unlike the Razr, and you have 2 options, and we just know these will be night and day better than the Razrs. Snapdragon 855, so last year's flagship processor, which is fine. That's what the Pixel 4 XL runs, right? 3300 milliamp hour battery, fast charging, wireless charging. It doesn't have Wi-Fi 6, but I guess people don't really care about that yet, right? Doesn't know what Google tells us. Yeah. Bluetooth 5, NFC, MST, fingerprint reader on the side. Only a single speaker. I don't know how you're going to live with that, but it's got a decent set of specs. I mean, compared to the Razr, it's $20 cheaper than the Razr. Wait, is the Razr 1500 or 1400? 1500?
Oh, it's 15.
Yeah, so it's $120 cheaper than the Razr, which is arguably one of the worst products ever released. I'm not even going to hold back on that. Oh, and the Flip also does this. Wait, how do I get in there? Or this? I'm trying to do the like full, like you can make it stop, like the hinge stop.
Flex mode.
It goes like this, which is kind of cool. Anyway, what were you gonna
say? The Galaxy rep and I, who will remain nameless, we were laughing at the Moto Razr. I was talking about the Razr 2, and I was like, man, this is like a totally better thing, and it's cheaper. And she's like, we know. Like, I mean, you kind of feel bad for Moto. Like they really thought they had something there,
They
and then
really
and the
thought they had
reviews are
something.
coming in, and it's oh man. But yeah, it's I mean, it's just a better, at least on paper, it's just a better phone. It's probably going to be a much better experience
It's going to be
overall.
so much better than everything that the Razr even tried to do. I mean, the Razr fit. I'll talk about it later. I'll save that till the end. In fact, somebody kind of mentioned that Kellen's probably going to spend about as much time as the Razr as he does on watch reviews. You know, my 30
30
second
seconds,
limit
man.
now. We might limit the Razr to 30 seconds. Anyway, so Z Flip. So it was available today. It's gone. Even if you go on Samsung's site, it's just gone. They said it's out of stock. I think there's an email sign up. Best Buy claims they're getting more units. I think you can still order from some Best Buys, but you obviously can't get it today. You have to wait until they get more. Who knows when that will be? They said it was going to be limited, and it was indeed a limited launch. But we do think we have we think we have
know
one.
no
Best
we
Buy
know
says,
we've got one.
I know I remain skeptical for all things.
I'm gonna show up there and they're gonna be like, what?
But we both have the email that says your order is ready, and Tim's name is down. He can go and get it. So we'll find out here after the show.
Yeah, so two things. So Samsung says February 21st. More stock will be available, at least on Samsung.com. And I know, and Best Buy's been talking about, oh, like you could get it if you order now, you can get it by next week. So more inventory is coming. It's just this first wave appeared pretty small. Yeah. Real quick, I want to read off a quote that comes from one of my favorite movies, American Psycho, because this is what my day has been like. You know, so last night we were at 9 p.m. trying to get this phone, and we thought we got one. We just had no idea because Best Buy sucks, and they're like, well, we just kind of threw it up. So I woke up this morning really hoping that I would get an email saying like, hey, your phone's going to be ready today, but it wasn't there. So I was like kind of just going through today. Like, I don't want to do a show. Like, I don't want to do anything. Like,
Tim was legitimately sad and mad about the whole situation. Yeah.
I was just mad because like, who the hell is out here buying $1,400 flip phones, man? Right. Like, I thought we'd be the only ones, at least maybe in this freaking vicinity, but no, it's never like that. So, when Patrick Bateman goes to a restaurant with his fiance, or maybe it's just his girlfriend at the time. So he says, as we arrive at eSpace, I'm on the verge of tears as I'm certain we won't get a decent table. So in my mind, I'm thinking like, man, because I built it up in my head. I was like, tomorrow I'm going to unbox the Z Flip. Everything is going to be super dope. And I'm just going to have it for the weekend. I'll coast into the weekend feeling good with my new phone. I'll set everything up. Then he says, but we do, referring to having a good table, and relief washes over me in an awesome wave. So we got that email from Best Buy, and I'm like, oh man, thank God I can go back to my original plans. We can do the show. I'll go to Best Buy, pick up that phone, do the unboxing, and set it all up and have like a killer weekend. And I just like felt better. And I was talking to my fiance, this poor girl. She knows I'm big in instant gratification. And I know this is a generational thing because of Amazon Prime and the internet, the speed at which we can get information and things we want and need. And when I say I want something, like I want it and I can't wait. And so this is a problem of mine. I'm going to take it as a time to learn a lesson and be like, you know what, Tim, like everything you want is nothing you need. And you just gotta breathe and not be so freaking zany about stuff. So either way, good times.
We think we have one.
We think we've got one. If I go there, I'm gonna throw a fit. You guys are gonna read in the news like, oh, local man trashes Best Buy over folding flip phone.
Drives car through front door. Ellis says my local Best Buy still has some. That's crazy. So we live in Portland, and there's 7 Best Buys here or something. The unlocked version of the purple and black, they sold out immediately. I'm pretty sure they had 2 of each. The AT&T purple also sold out. And the last we looked, they still had the AT&T black version, but they won't let you just buy it unlocked, or I should say at full retail. They want you to sign up for stuff. So some stores may still have potentially the AT&T. I would be shocked if they have the unlocked. If they do, you probably buy one and sell it for $2,000. Probably make a nice little profit.
Here's the other thing. I don't trust Best Buy employees. And like, I don't mean this offensively to Best Buy employees because I love y'all, but like your in-store pickup process is the worst. I've gone in there plenty of times. I'm like, hey, I ordered this thing. And they're like, they've got shelves full of just crap that's been sitting there for 2 months because they never clean it off. And like they're just like, I can't find this thing. I'm like, it's a Chromecast, dude. Like it's not that difficult. I'll go get one off the freaking the shelf myself. I'm like, well, you can't do that. We've already allotted the inventory for your pickup. Like, yeah, just like I just want to like hit their computers or something. These people.
I walked in one time and said, I did the curbside pickup thing, but I also had ordered another thing. So I figured it was just easier if I just walked in here to get it. And they're like, no, that's not good because those are in two different places and we just can't. And I was like, dude, that just means one's on that shelf and one's over there. It was a big deal. The other thing, not to keep complaining about Best Buy, because I do go to Best Buy quite a bit.
We like Best Buy.
The in-store, this is my entitled self talking now. When you walk into a store and there's supposed to be a line for store pickup and a line for customer service, we got to keep those separate. Because if you want to go in to just pick up your order, but you have to wait for the two people in front of you who need help with their vacuum and Geek Squad, like then that defeats the whole purpose of it being quick to walk in and grab your thing for store pickup and walk out. I could have just gone to the shelf and got it and then checked out faster while I was waiting for Geek Squad to finish up with Vacuum Lady. So just throwing that out there. Otherwise, I love you. Otherwise, I love you, Best Buy. In fact, I have to go pick up something else there today. So we'll see how that goes.
Shout out to Geek Squad. I'll never do curbside. I don't trust.
I know. I'm gonna try it though once because like having a kid, curbside could be game changing.
Gary the Fireman with the $5 donation says Tim's bail fund. That's come. We're gonna need more than that, people. Like we're talking like 2nd degree assault.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
Thanks for the dono, Gary.
Yeah, we're talking a felony, not a misdemeanor.
So final Samsung thing was Galaxy Buds Plus. I believe they must have just given you a pair when you walked out the door. We've talked about the upgrades already. They're they're $150, and I believe you can buy Galaxy Buds today. I think today was the launch day. So
yeah, $150, and they're great. They sound good. The noise isolation seems like really good. I was using them on the plane, did a little bit of testing, a little bit of snoozing, and they work great. The touch buttons, it's more sensitive and it feels like it's a larger area.
That's good.
Yeah, so those are more sensitive, and then the ambient sound is a lot better. I think due to that extra mic that they implemented or integrated. There's a lot less hissing. There's more kind of like it's quiet and then like it picks up the sounds. I love snapping my fingers when you got ambient sound on. It's very ASMR. But yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, Best Buy definitely
get the Buds Plus.
I can't tell if they actually have them in stock, but they might. Either way, they're like they should be everywhere. I think Amazon has them. Everyone has them. So anyway, that's the final thing there. Again, because we got no Galaxy Home Mini. Not that we care that much, but it's kind of like a running joke. We're waiting for them to finally talk about that. All right, switching gears out of Samsung, Android 11 developer preview is not here. However, Google's dedicated preview portal, they updated yesterday for all of maybe 1 hour, and it said Android 11 developer preview. Get your apps ready for Android 11. Stronger protections and user privacy, new ways to engage users, all this stuff. Download it, enroll in the beta to get it all. Like they had changed the page. Mostly they had swapped out the words Android Q for Android 11. So the stuff they're talking about, I believe, is just Android Q features. Then as it was called out that, they redirected away from that page. So you can't even visit it any longer, but could be a sign that developer preview is very soon. Although it being February 14th, we're about a month earlier than we were last year. I have no idea if Android 11 would be ready as a preview this early, but maybe. Although that would screw up the whole schedule. I think for 2 or 3 years in a row now, it kind of started March.
All they're doing is building in support for freaking more foldables and 5G. Yeah. So, yeah.
Crazy. All right. Motorola Razr review time. 30 second.
30 seconds. I'll give you a minute.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of crap to talk. So
I would hold the Motorola Razr foldable up right here and show you as I tell you never to consider it, but it's in a box over there ready to go back. So my Motorola Razr review is out. I called it the most unpleasant phone I've used. It really is about the worst phone I've used in a really, really long time. Part of that has to do with just the experience, but a lot of that comes from it, being $1,500, and there's absolutely nothing enjoyable about this phone. I don't want to spend too much time just completely trashing on it, but in my review, I sort of pointed out that if this phone was like $300, I still don't think I would recommend it because it has a $300 level camera. The display, again, it's not even full HD display. The processor is like a 2-year-old mid-ranger. The battery's small. I didn't have problems with performance and battery. I think some other reviews have said performance and battery were awful. Mine were fine, but that could also be because I just didn't want to use the phone very much because it was so unpleasant. It's sharp to hold, has this awful chin that you're constantly working around to get to the UI. The folding and unfolding is not a pleasant experience. Like you've talked about with this Z Flip, that clipping it going like clunk, like that's satisfying. It's not on this because this phone doesn't. The hinge is so tight. You can't open it with one hand. I mean, you could try. Like I remember last week on the show, I was trying to like flip it open, couldn't do it. So you can't use it with one hand. So it's this tiny little thing that takes 2 hands to open, and then to shut it, it doesn't have that sort of clunk. Like you don't get that experience. It's a really, really bad product. I don't mean to come off so harsh on this thing, and I did completely trash on this phone. You know, like the phone has 3 creases in it. There's the middle one, which is there because that's where it folds. And then there's 2 other creases that develop above and below that because of the way the display moves as you fold it. So out of the box, it doesn't have those. And then you fold it 4 times and now there's extra creases in there.
It's totally normal.
Yeah, last week I did the tapping test, remember, to show that there's this clicking noise behind it. That's just bad. But there's some other things they talk about, the vibration motor. You know, and I leave my phone on vibrate all the time because I don't like the beeping. I think it stems back to when my kid was a baby and I wanted everything silent and didn't want to wake him. I just leave it on vibrate all the time. This phone, I wanted to turn off vibrate because when those things come in, it was the and it just sounds bad. You know, the Verizon exclusivity thing, I cannot tell you how much bloatware is on this thing. I didn't do an official count because I was uninstalling it before I could count. It's crazy. You saw it probably in the unboxing video where I said, look, this Verizon thing's trying to scan for viruses. It's a brand new phone. And I had this ongoing notification that says, hello, we're scanning for viruses. What? So, yeah. I think the point is that Motorola certainly deserves some props for creating a phone that looks like the old Razr.
Yeah, but that's about it.
And putting it into, you know, a smartphone package with a foldable display. But that's it. Yeah. The fact that they tried to sell this phone to people for $1,500 is it is actually kind of offensive. This phone is really, I said I'm not sure I could come up with a price where I tell you to buy this phone. That's how awful I really thought it was. They can certainly try again, I'm sure. They have a new flagship phone coming out. We think it's called the Motorola Edge Plus. I can't wait to see if that, you know, comes up with something new because Motorola has been struggling to do anything significant for a while. This was not it. It doesn't surprise me that the Samsung person laughed at the Motorola Razr as you were playing with the Z Flip, because the Z Flip is in very many ways the opposite of it as far as what you're buying more, right? You're spending less on the Z Flip and getting more. I mean, you could do the Z Flip just killed the Razr. Well, the Razr killed it. I didn't want to say that. That's
killed itself.
Yeah, I didn't really want to say that. That's just such an awful term to say.
Sure.
The Razr shot itself in the foot. How about that? The Razr shot itself in the foot. I know that's still bad, but that's just...
It only shot itself because it has easy access to guns. But yeah.
Probably. Either way, the Razr is not the play. I don't know if the Z Flip will be. I don't know that I loved the clamshell constantly having to unfold. And with the Z Flip, the little screen scares me a little bit that you're going to have to worry even more about unfolding. The Razr at least had a somewhat decent sized screen. You could look at notifications. But if it's actually satisfying to flip that phone open, that could change everything. Because part of my issue with the Razr was it wasn't even fun to use. Unfolding and folding was not fun at all. So anyway.
Shout out to the liberals. So what Motorola at least had going for it was that nostalgia, right? That Razr name. Everyone had a Razr back in the day.
Then they ran into
except for you and me. And then, so I mean, you see this phone even getting on, morning talk shows, with Today or whoever, all these people I don't watch, but they're like, I see the headlines, is the flip phone back? And I'm like, oh no, it's not that one.
Not
Please,
that one.
yeah, get the Z Flip. don't get the Moto Razr. But even people who I know who aren't into phones, I was talking about the Z Flip, and they're like, "Oh, you mean like the Razr?" And I was like, "No, not the Razr, not the Motorola one, the Samsung
Similar
one."
idea, but no.
Yeah, but like way better.
Way better.
Yeah. So, and obviously, I guess maybe it doesn't matter, right? Because the Z Flip already sold out, and it's a $1,400 phone. Like maybe they did what Samsung set out to do, which is the same thing apparently as the Fold, which is maybe prove a concept. I don't know. Like, is this really the future Samsung, or is this just sort of like a baby step towards like, maybe like if it's successful, it'll be the future. But like, when is the Flip and the Fold going to be the norm? Because the pricing.
Maybe
it works just fine because the Ultra is more expensive than the Flip. So if Flip is really selling out and there's a demand for it, then one day it could just be the new norm, and we may no longer see a ton, like 3 different flat phones, S20 Plus and Ultra. So
I hope that's not the future, because I don't know that I fully believe yet in the flip phone experience. Because again, we live with our phones constantly in our hands. And that's just another step you have to take. If you're constantly getting buzzed about an email or a notification, and it's in this tiny little thing that just forces you to flip it, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so the Flip 2 can have a front cover display. That's like the main downside to the Flip, this first one, right? It's like a tiny little ticker display that only shows you the time. You actually can take a selfie with it. It just looks stupid. You can't see anything.
Can't even frame it, yeah.
Exactly. So sooner or later, when it gets better, maybe it'll just become the new norm. It's totally possible.
At least we've seen a giant price decrease from the original awful Galaxy Fold to this one. I don't want to say awful Galaxy Fold because you guys all know I actually liked it, but it had its issue. There's no way anyone should have bought that. But to see it drop $600 with similar-ish specs, that's at least a good sign. Doesn't have 5G, which who cares again?
Good.
Because if it did, it would have been another $300 probably. Yeah. And this time they say they put a really thin layer of glass, right? So it should be more durable. I guess we'll see. I don't know that I actually believe that, but at least it's better than what they had. Should be an improvement.
Totally. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, hey, we're going to unbox this Z Flip. Might be my favorite phone ever.
Rob says Team Flip or Team Fold. See, that's tough because I was for sure Team Fold guy. It's just there's no good Fold. If there was a new generation of Fold, I'd probably say Team Fold, but the old Fold was just kind of a disaster. But I'm not Team Flip, so I'm not on a team. I'm a free agent.
Ooh.
Back the truck.
Yeah.
Just bag it up.
That's cool.
I can be paid to join any team, that's for sure.
That's very cool.
All right. Anyway, so that's my Razr review. Awful
phone.
Awful experience. I don't say that about very many things. In the 10 years I've been doing this, I don't know that I have said as horrible things about a phone as I had to say about that. And that all came within about 4 days, 5 days. It is not. Anyway. Speaking of horrible things, I'm just kidding. Essential. You remember the company Essential? Andy Rubin's company? Remember them?
Yeah, I remember.
Essential, the company who released a single phone 3 years ago. Over 3 years ago? 2.5? When was the first one?
3 years.
3 years ago, Essential released, the Essential phone, which, we liked for a while. And then, it had enough issues that it wasn't really worth keeping around. There's a lot of people that still have their Essential phones. It's been updated every single month on the date that the updates are published by Google. So it's had those. They called it quits this week. So this comes after, was it last October? Yeah, last October, Andy Rubin showed off Project Gem, which was that really weird sort of remote control candy bar style like device, which was sort of a phone. It had the big nipple camera and all that stuff, fingerprint on the back. It looked interesting enough. You could tell they had really customized the UI to perform in a way they wanted it to, but we didn't know much. We heard nothing after that. Well, they announced this week that they've They've taken it as far as they can take it, this Project Gem, and they see no clear path to deliver it to customers. And so they're just closing up shop. I would love, like I'm hoping somebody at the information or one of those that has inside sources with companies like Essential to report on exactly what the breakdown was and what happened. Because it sounds like it could be a fascinating story. Either way, Essential is done. So what does that mean? No more updates for your Essential phones. You've been hanging on to the original Essential phone and loving those monthly security patches. You don't get those anymore. They're done. And you also don't get customer support any longer. So if something happens to your phone, you're just SOL. It's an old phone and you probably paid little for it. So I'm not sure you should be that mad about that. And it was a bad phone. You should just get something new. Where this sucks, though, is if you were looking forward to this weird Project Gem thing, it's obviously done. The other thing, though, is last year or a year or 2 years ago, Essential bought Cloud Magic, which operates and owned Newton Mail, the email program, which had initially been shut down, and then Essential fired it back up. It will now re-die. Can you re-die? So if you use Newton Mail on desktop, phone, whatever, you have until April 30th, and then it just will no longer work. I'm sure they're just going to unplug the servers at that point. So Essential Phone, no more updates, no more customer support. Newton Mail is dead, and the Gem phone will never, ever surface, at least under Essential. Who knows if they'll sell any of the technology there or what they'll do with that, but that's it. So Essential's done. They are no longer a company to pay attention to.
Rip. Sucks. Well, I mean, I'm not even gonna get into the politics of it, but it sucks because the first Essential phone was cool. I know we had always hoped that Essential Phone 2 was a guaranteed phone of the year for us if they had just made the software better and a decent camera. It would have been phone of the year. I don't even care.
Right.
But nope, they screwed up. So, and then this little gem thing, I was like, okay, I mean, this is different. It looks cool. I'm really into this new form factor kind of thing. I want new kind of look. So it was just interesting.
Yeah.
But hey, you only made one phone. It didn't sell very well. They clearly just ran out of money.
They seriously spent 3 years doing, I have no idea what. You can't tell me they've been working on Gem for 3 years. Do you think that happened?
No, I hope not. I mean, that's a waste of time. I feel bad for the employees. It seemed like it was a very sudden thing, although we don't know how many employees they had left. It just seems like they ran out of runway and that was it. And who's putting in money to this company that's headed by, who is investing in Andy Rubin right now?
Yeah.
Nobody. And we know he's got his own probably money issues coming up with lawsuits and whatever. That's probably just someone to stick away or stay away from. That's toxic area stuff. So
that's one of the reasons I hope those sort of VC reporters, those venture capitalist reporters, those inside reporters can find out the story, because it's probably crazy. Because a couple years ago, Andy Rubin came back, Essential released this phone. Everyone was super excited, praised Andy Rubin, founder of Android. Then the Essential phone flops. And then they sort of build it back up to be somewhat respectable and people kind of like it. There's all these flash sales and people are still talking about it. And he's promising their smart home hub and stuff and all this stuff. And then we start getting close to maybe talking about there might be a new phone. And then, all the stories come out that Andy Rubin has had. When he was at Google, he was sort of forced out and given this massive package. And there's all these sort of workplace violations possibly there. And it goes much deeper than that. I mean, the New York Times wrote a story on this a couple years ago. You should read it. It paints the man in not a good light whatsoever. So that happens. And then more stories start coming out about just sort of the toxic executive leadership stuff going on at Google. But then Andy Rubin stuff never goes away. He goes through a divorce, I believe. And that's sort of what he blamed. He goes, I'm just going through a divorce and people are trying to blast me and shame me in this divorce thing. I don't know. I'm just going to say it does not make the dude look good. He's also, I don't believe, has ever apologized for much or any of it. So, maybe he doesn't have to. Who am I to? Either way, I'm assuming all the money that was going in there, I'm sure people were just like, we're moving. We're not doing this anymore.
We're over it.
Anyway, I would love for somebody to write that story. I know I'm technically a sort of a journo guy. I'm not an investigative. I'm not an investigative reporter. I need somebody else to do that.
It's time to take that step.
Could be.
Yeah, Rob Grasso. So he's asking, is that the vaporware phone from years ago that's still available for pre-order? No, it's not Sega's V Squared. This is essentially, this was a real product and a real company with real employees. Sega's is still, well, I know their office is shut down in Utah. We figured that out. So, yeah.
Sort of a random note. So I think it was right before we went on air. The guys at Android Police found this eBay listing that was for, it was a bunch of essential stuff that some of which you couldn't buy. And I think they called it out as like, oh, here's like a former Essential employee who's now trying to sell like all of his swag. And it was the HD adapter, a couple of the 360 cameras, one of the bluish deep ocean blue phones or whatever, a sticker, and then that charging pad that you were supposed to be able to just put your phone on to charge that never released. Some dude was trying to sell it for, I think originally it was listed at 500 plus. Cause I looked at it and went, oh, that's crazy expensive, but you do get a phone with it. I believe the listing, yeah, he just pulled it. You can still see it. Here, I can probably paste this in the chat.
I thought it sold. I thought it's done.
It says, it said the listing was ended by the seller because the item is no longer available.
Because I think someone did the buy it now.
Oh,
and it sold.
Anyway, I'm trying to post. This is not working.
Because who wouldn't want that like prototype dock and all that stuff? Like there's those Essential fanboys out there who's like, oh yeah, I want that Essential. That's history. I mean, that's smartphone history right there. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to see those come along very often. So
it was kind of cool. So either way, somebody, obviously posted this up that must have worked there because they no longer work there.
It was a brand new ocean depths. That was the best color for that phone. And you could not find that thing.
That was tough to find. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was worth the $500 right there. Probably.
Possibly.
It depends on how you value stuff like that, but
yeah, that's true because it is an old phone that will never get another update. So
exactly, but it's cool.
So sort of final topic: T-Mobile Sprint take another step towards finalizing their merger. In fact, they said they're now taking the final steps to complete it. So, as we know, a bunch of attorneys general was it just district attorney? I can't remember what it was. There was a bunch of state lawsuits to it was attorneys general. So got together and said, no, we want to stop this. A New York district judge threw out their argument and said, no, we're going to let this go through.
Who's he getting paid by?
Yeah, well, I can't remember who it was. I thought maybe Reuters. Somebody reported that the judge said he was basing his decision off of, I should almost look this up before I say it to make sure it was true. But he basically said that the arguments he listened to and based his decision off of was how they presented their arguments and sort of how not their mood, but sort of their tone was in their arguments rather than off of the numbers and facts. It was something really awful like that, where he basically looked at it and said, you guys seem like good guys. I don't think you're going to raise prices. Let's just move this forward, that is not what you're supposed to be doing here, buddy. It was something really bad.
That's not ideal.
So I wonder if I can find that.
Yeah, I mean, we still have hardly any idea how this is really going. I feel like to affect a lot of people, and it is going to affect people. Just not sure how. T-Mobile says it's all going to be positive, but I mean, when in history has like a huge merger like this, I guess, really benefited people. I don't know. Hola, Esteban. Thanks for joining.
I can't find it. Maybe I just made that up. I definitely saw, and it looked like a legitimate
Maybe you made it up.
I could have made it up. Here we go. This is probably some clickbait.
Trevor McGrath says, if T-Mobile adds on a $15 a month prepaid plan, I'd definitely give it a shot. Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't? I would. I'm on T-Mobile right now, and that's because they give you the MLB at bat the whole season for free. They give you all this stuff, free hour on go flights when I'm flying. There's a lot of positives for T-Mobile. Sprint customers, I mean, if you're out there, if you exist, if you're real people, and you're not just like a Sprint employee, you got to be pretty happy about this because, you know, if you're integrated into T-Mobile's network, then like you can actually use your phone places. Like that's cool. So that's a positive. Being able to use your phone.
Anyway.
Were you not able
found
to
an
find
article. It has to do with just the judge's opinion on it. And apparently some people have argued that he didn't really look at facts. He more based it on like, we're going to take their word for it that they're not going to do it, which is, pretty awful. Look, I don't know John Ledger and the boys at T-Mobile that well. I don't know them at all, actually. But do any of us fully always trust the words of our corporate overlords? No, they're trying to make money for themselves and shareholders. Like, they don't typically have our best interests. So anyway, it was apparently not the best of rulings. I have no idea. I know you were just kind of talking this. I have no idea if Sprint T-Mobile merging is going to be good for anyone. They've said a bunch of stuff which they had to say to get it approved. Like, they'll have the best 5G network before everyone. They're not going to raise prices for 3 years. First of all, they said it was going to be lower cost for everyone. Now I think we're more on we're not going to raise prices for 3 years, which is not that long of a time. They're going to bring home internet to people that have not had it previously. That's a good thing. They said they're going to create a bunch of jobs, which possibly, but that could be a temporary while we build out our network thing and then those jobs go away. We don't know. I mean, I think they'll create some jobs. We don't know how long lasting those are. We won't know. All we have is examples of the past, which is like Canada, where their wireless coverage is super expensive and they sign you into 3-year contracts. And I don't know that Canadians love their situation. If you're Canadian, weigh in on that, please.
Yeah.
John Ledger is leaving, and Mike Seifert is taking over.
Nerd.
I don't know anything about Mike other than he's kind of been alongside John for this whole Uncarrier ride. He's very much in step with what John did. He just wasn't, obnoxious. Maybe he will be. Maybe he'll take on the personality of John Ledger. I hope
that
not.
Would be freaking. He just has to down 10 Red Bulls every morning.
Yeah. I hope we don't do that. I hope he wears less pink and all of that, or magenta. Sorry.
Yeah.
I hate to just say we'll see what happens because it could be bad. And once it's done, it's done. No, I don't think somebody's going to come in and break up T-Mobile Sprint once it's done. So, I don't know. For now, it'll probably be fine. And they'll build a 5G network that will be better than everyone's first, which is cool. After that, I just am assuming that we're going to get bad contracts and bad pricing. It's going to be fun.
Yep. Good luck, everybody.
Yeah, see, like Brandon Fisher just points out, lies about jobs. AT&T is cutting jobs after promising jobs during their merger with Time Warner. Yeah, all those companies also promised jobs and growth and all that after they got their big tax break, and they're all still cutting. So, yeah, I don't think we should trust any of these companies. I hate to be the guy that's telling you not to trust anyone, but these companies never do things, I should say rarely do things that fully benefit us. Like, they make money off us. They don't typically want to help us all that much.
Exactly.
Anyway, just my little speech there. That's all.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, apologies, folks. No trivia.
I won't apologize.
Sorry. Tim's gonna go get a phone right now and probably unbox that for y'all.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna give you guys more content to consume because that's what we need in this world. Is more content. I'm a content creator / influencer.
You are an influencer.
I'm verified on Twitter.
I mean, only influencers have Z flips.
Z flip. Hey, let's not talk about Zion. Yeah, that guy is just like, he's killing it. It's ridiculous.
Zion is a beast.
I didn't want to believe it, but yeah, he's
the only
a beast.
thing that worries me about Zion is he's looking a little thicker than maybe he should be.
A little thick, huh?
The only reason I say that is because I'm not body shaming. This is totally like, I'm worried that his joints aren't going to hold. The guy is so powerful and huge, and he's already had a knee surgery, and he's like 19. I'm just worried. I feel like if he slimmed up, I don't know, 10 pounds even, he 15, would be, 20. He's already sort of an unstoppable force, but he's so thick. I just worry that body's not gonna be able to hold up through the pounding every single day, because he does things that dudes his size should not be able to do. Like, I was showing my wife this the other day. I was like, she goes, "Who is this dude?" And I go, "Just watch." And she goes, "What the hell? He looks like a linebacker." And I go, "Yeah, but he could jump and do all this other stuff." And she goes, "Is he like kind of like Shaq was?" And I go, "Yeah, except he's 6'9" and can actually shoot a little bit and some other things. He's just a different thing than we've ever seen. But yeah, he's he's just a big dude. I just want him to, I want to see him play for 15 years because I think it'll be awesome. And he's just a big dude. I don't know. I'm sure look, I'm not a health expert either. Here I go. I'm doing this whole thing again. So I'm assuming there's a lot of people around him that are like, dude, you're fine. I'm just
yeah. You think he doesn't have like a team of doctors or something?
Does.
They were like
100%
sure,
he
like,
does.
yeah,
Apparently after the surgery, they were teaching him how to run again. I'm like, oh my God, we're teaching the man who's 19 how to run again. No. They'll take care of him. I'm a fan of the sport. I want to see the craziness that could happen with him in a 10-year, 15-year career.
Yeah, I hate it when, well, maybe just because like I'm kind of a hater that way, but anytime ESPN, and this could be any category, but sports for sure, when ESPN or other mainstream kind of sports companies shove a certain player down your throat, like, and they did that for LeBron James. Mm-hmm. And obviously LeBron James has turned out to be a fantastic ball player, has had a storied career, but damn, dude, like maybe take it easy. We're not all Pelicans fans. Like we're not all, he was a Duke, right?
Yeah, he played a Duke.
Yeah, like I'm not a Duke guy.
Definitely not a Duke guy.
Yeah, so like I just don't care. Like he doesn't affect me. Like I get it. He's good for the league and all that. It's like I don't care about Zion. Sorry. Like I get he's fun to watch. But I'm still here thinking that Damian's not getting enough credit. Like it just pisses me off, man.
Dame's finally gotten some credit this year because he went on that crazy run. The thing is, like, Zion's gonna dunk on somebody, probably break their back and the backboard at the same time, and you're gonna go,
the ground.
Okay, I kind of want to watch this. That's probably gonna happen.
Sure, and the same thing was happening with Luka Doncic. Where
what a beast that dude is too.
The guy's a freak, but again, I don't care. Giannis, awesome player, don't care. Like why can't the Blazers get a freak? I want a freak.
That's because we're homers. I get it.
I know, totally.
The great thing about the NBA is that there is talent everywhere right now. We went through a number of years where I know that you had Kobe and obviously LeBron and we still have LeBron, but I just feel like every team has some crazy ass superstar right now. And so it's very, very fun time to watch the NBA. And they're all on Twitter and Instagram, like trash talking and subtweeting and all this stuff. The NBA is the most entertaining league in all of sports.
No, maybe after the XFL. I mean, no
one's watching that shit. That'll be gone in 3 weeks.
It was cool to actually have some football on Saturday, though. I woke up and I was like, oh, damn, football's back. Let's go.
No one cares about the XFL.
Go Dallas Outlaws or whoever. DC Defenders.
It'll be gone in 3 weeks, like all of the other leagues they've ever tried to build, where they just
the New York Gargoyles. Yeah, I mean, Rashad says, don't disrespect the XFL. I didn't see, so they talked about it being more exciting, more energy, like... That was the most
with minor league talent. Like that's
ever.
The problem.
Like it was really bad. Like there was not a single double forward pass, which was like the only thing I was looking forward to. I was like, man, this could really open up the offense.
No one is watching the NBA G League because it's subpar talent. You're not going to watch the XFL with subpar minor league talent, guys who can't be in the NFL. Why would you watch that?
Yeah,
we don't want to watch football just to watch football. I think there's this misconception where everyone goes, well, the NFL's ratings are so massive that all you just need to do to be successful is put more football on. That is not true at all. People like the NFL because it's the best league of football, and then people like high-end college football. No one wants to watch minor league football.
Yeah, well, it'd be like really hyping up like AAA baseball, and it's just like not something I want to do. I don't want to watch the lower tier. I want to watch the best of the best. So yeah, no, I get you.
But
that's why the rule changes would have been nice. But the rule changes didn't really like affect anything except for kickoffs, which I thought were better, only due to less injury, I guess. But anyway. Shout out to Ellis, who's about to get banned for life for saying always enjoy rewatching the Niners lose. Peace. Just kidding, Ellis. You're cool. But that's hella rude. We'll be back. I hope Jimmy G the God's gonna just take us back to back bowls and we're gonna get him. Come on, porn star Jimmy. Damn, I'm still mad about that, man. Anyway. All right, I'm going to go pick up the Z Flip. You're going to get out of here. let's call it a day. I'm really glad everyone was joined us and stuck with us, even though we didn't have trivia. We'll be back soon with trivia. Don't worry, it's not gone forever.
One last shout out, Lars, Alfredo, Charles, Gary, and Digital Life. Thank you everyone for the donations. Appreciate that. We'll add that to Tim's bail fund, which he will need in about 15 minutes.
Oh, these Best Buy employees better be ready because I'm coming in hot.
Everyone wants you to do a live unboxing. It's one of those things we could possibly do. We have to get your camera fixed first, but
yeah, one day that might be fun.
That's not bad. I mean, we have all the gear to actually do that. We just need yours to be fixed.
Exactly. People were asking what color. It's a black one, unfortunately, but that's
tried to go purple, couldn't. Yeah, we tried.
Yeah. All right,
guys. Have a safe weekend, everyone. The sun is out here. Hope you have a fabulous time. Don't drink and drive.
Peace.